Welcome back to the It's Dumb Money YouTube channel, where we teach you and give you the intel you need to establish relationships with the bank and improve your credit profile. Now today, we're going to talk about creating your game day, creating your D-Day. That is the day where you come out of the garden and you submit hopefully a good amount of applications and get some brand new fresh credit. Now this is going to be based on this page here, which if there's one guide to really follow on the site, it's this one. It's what everything revolves around. So it's basically a master credit card lender list. And what that means is it gives you a ton of data points from basic, like, hey, what bureau does this pull from, all the way to credit scores that have worked personally, that I've dug up through the FICO forums and all the other forums, the Dr. Credit that used to exist and other sites like that. And, going back pretty far, as well as this is where we'll link. Once we build up enough data points and enough, of a story, we'll make a definitive guide based on that. We've got one coming up on Navy Fed. We've already done one on Amex, CapitalOne, we'll do one on Chase, etc. So what we're going to talk about today is really building your game day plan. Now, let me talk about what I did in the beginning, and some of the mistakes I made and some of the things I've learned, and hopefully that'll help you. So in the beginning, I had this idea that it would be best to, do a ton of apps. I was trying to push for like 8-10 apps that day. And well, maybe this is possible if you did a shopping cart trick and you had super fast internet. I just don't really think that's the best way to do it. I guess I kind of settled on this idea that like 5 to 7 maximum, with the sweet spot probably being like 5. Another thing I did in the very beginning was I would filter it based on what cards you really wanted to get, or what cards you thought you'd have the highest limit on. And so this would be like your Amex cards, your Chase, because 5x24, 5 inquiries within 2 years. These are the cards that tend to have rules and stipulations based on how many inquiries, how many new accounts you can have in the last couple of years, so on and so forth. And those you would stack in the beginning. I didn't really pay attention to like who would pull from what, but as time went on, I realized that it was actually, to add in another layer, it was really valuable to, like, if I had, a Chase and an Amex, those are both gonna pull Experian. So let's pull those up side by side in tabs, and those would be my first two. And then bang, bang, we would try and hit the submit button at the same exact time, or like a split second apart, so that it wouldn't trigger one inquiry, then the second one, and the second app would pick up that fresh inquiry that we just triggered. You're more likely, with delays that would happen and how it pings, the bureau and the network back there, is like, as long as you're doing it within kind of like a split second, hitting submit, then submit again, they're not gonna see that. So hitting on the same bureau at the same moment, I realized was really, really valuable as well. And so I refined that process a little bit. So it's stuck with like, hey, what's the most important cards, or the cards we think will get the highest limits on, or whatever. And then we would kind of filter it down from there. Another thing that I used to put in the very beginning, and this might change, I talk about this quite a bit with, FICO 10 and some of the new stuff, where they're talking about the power and potency of a personal loan to pay down your debt might not be as valuable. I'm kind of calling bullshit on that. I think it will be, because whenever you can take one lump sum and pay down all your credit and all your cards, it's going to be insanely valuable for your score. They don't really care how you did it, as long as you've paid down your cards, and your score will go up. That's another piece that I tend to try and do in the beginning, is if you can get a personal loan to clean up any existing debt, to get your debt to income, or DTI, down. That matters a lot with credit unions. Navy Fed operates off of this completely, which is why you can have an 18-year-old pimply-faced kid who's never had credit in his life, barely can hold down a job, and he'll get qualified and approved for a $15,000 card with Navy Fed, and you got a $1,000 cash rewards card. That's why things like that happen. So I think that personal loan piece in the beginning is really valuable. You don't really have to time that. You could, I guess, but like, I think Prosper, Marcus, and a few others, they mostly will pull Experian. So if you're maxing out on that, you might want to try and do those together. I would say, however, do that personal loan piece first if you're planning on doing it, and then give yourself a good full 30 days for all the new statement dates that pass again, all of this to be reported to the bureaus, and then your score is going to skyrocket, and then you do your game day, you do your D-Day after that, right? It's really that simple. Credit unions tend to pull Equifax. Equifax isn't really pulled by that many. It's mostly Experian and Trans for, your Synchrony, your Community Bank, a lot of the store cards, and a lot of the big guys, they're usually Experian or Trans, so that leaves Equifax kind of untouched. And if they're just pulling Equifax, again, this you could use to your advantage too, and kind of stack in a couple credit unions that you've been building relationships with. You got checking accounts opened already. You've been throwing in maybe some direct deposits in there, and now it's time to get some cards, so you could stack that as well. I guess what I'm trying to say is that now that you've got, it's not just It's Dumb Money, there's all kinds of resources out there now. Now that you've got those resources, take some time and come up with a plan. And then on the day of, you give yourself some time and allow yourself, take the morning off if you work a job, or give yourself a serious amount of time to get this done. I mean, I've had this take as much as 3-4 hours to get this done, to submit documentation and make the phone calls and do the follow-ups. It can be pretty time intensive, so just keep that in mind. But anyways, that's all I've got for you. I'll give you this link underneath the video. It's all completely free to access this, and we go in depth into quite a bit of lenders and what they're looking for in terms of scores and what bureau they pull from. If you think this is going to help somebody out, please just take a second, share this with them, like the video, comment below, so it helps us get up into algorithms and help this channel grow, and it helps us create this kind of community together. We really appreciate your help and support with that. And if you're brand new to the channel, take a second, subscribe, be on the lookout, more videos coming soon.